what's up everyone? It's Emily and welcome back to my channel. This is going to be the final installment of my Preptober series. This has been so much fun and I've gotten a lot of great feedback on these videos, so thank you all so much for watching them. I hope that you found them helpful on your journey through Preptober into NaNoWriMo, which starts in just a few days. It has been such a fun and interesting month. I have loved hearing from everyone in the community, and if you don't already know, I did create a Discord for all of us to connect with each other in the writing community. I will have that link in the description down below. Please feel free to come join us and hang out, share your work in progress, and join us along for next month. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun so far, and I really love talking with all of you, and I love that we can create this kind of mini community within a larger writing community. This video is going to focus again on some writing aspects. I spent the last couple ones talking about you as the author personally. This one, I wanted to talk about the middle of the book. And the reason I wanted to focus on this instead of something else is because writing the middle of the book is arguably the hardest part about writing a book, because after you get about 10,000 words in and you've done your inciting incident, you've discovered this new world, it's kind of hard getting that little middle piece to fit together nicely to the end. Or sometimes you'll write it your whole novel and you'll only have 30,000 words and you're like, what about the rest of it? I thought I would give a little bit of an introductory video of how to write the middle of your story. As always, I'm going to have some links in the description down below for you to do some further research for yourself, but hopefully this gets you going and gets maybe some ideas bubbling so that you can finish your story. Because the most frustrating part about NaNoWriMo is when you're halfway through the month and you don't know what to write next or how to get yourself from the next point to the ending. So hopefully this helps you with that. The middle, the saggy middle, the fun and games section of the book, you can call it whatever you want, it can be the worst. So once you have your writing routine, you have your outline done, you're ready for NaNoWriMo, and you get through the beginning and all of a sudden you get to the point where you're like, I don't know what comes next. Sometimes this can be writer's block, and I did do a video on that if you want to look at that specifically, but sometimes the middle is just hard. And that's just the truth of it. And even if you've outlined your book or you kind of know what's going to happen next, getting to that point, making it interesting, can be really difficult. And for a lot of writers, this section of the book comes with a ton of different challenges, like slow pacing, little development between characters. I have just a couple, I think I have 3 different points in this video that I want to make, and then I'll kind of expand on that, and hopefully that helps you out with the middle of your book. The first thing you can do in the middle is to add subplots. Some books, depending on the genre or how long you want it to be, have 3 or 4 subplots, and some of them only maybe have 1 or 2. This is a great way to lengthen your novel, so if you're having trouble with keeping your word count up or you're moving too quickly from one point to the next, adding a subplot will really help layer in those details and add some length. It'll also help with character development and just keeping your story interesting. This is also a great time if your character needs to develop a skill set by the end of the book. This is a great time to incorporate that into your story. One thing to keep in mind though is that your subplots should hinder on the main plot. They shouldn't be disconnected in any way. So if your main plot doesn't happen, your subplot should fall through almost completely. And that way you'll make sure that they're both interconnected and developing across the same storyline. It also will stop you sending your characters off some random side quest that doesn't really have anything to do with the rest of the story, which could maybe confuse your readers or bore them or make them feel like they're in a different book completely. A good subplot will give us 1 or more things for the reader, and that could be information, character development, a relationship building, added urgency, or variety to the story. A great subplot for me is in the story Blood Like Magic. Our main character, Voya Thomas, has to complete a task given to her by one of her ancestors, and that is to destroy her first love. And so Voya is spending a lot of the book trying to get this boy that she is a genetic match for to like her back. And at the same time, she really loves to cook and she really loves her family, and that's very much interwoven into her character and the rest of the story. So she's talking to this boy that she likes or that she is trying to fall in love with and finds out that he doesn't cook food for himself. So within the story, she's cooking food for him, and there is a heritage family cooking contest. So she's diving into her family history in order to figure out more stuff about her family, which is also part of this main plot with having to deal with her ancestors, as well as making this food for this boy that she's trying to get to like her, and that is kind of how they're able to connect. So this cooking contest, which is like a baby subplot underneath a couple other things going on, is kind of always in the background, and it actually brings forward parts of the main plot that are hidden away, but it's still kind of its own little subsection of the book, and it also does a really good job developing her relationship with one of the characters. This subplot allowed Voya to explore her passion of cooking, find out more about her family, get closer to the boy that she's trying to have a love interest with, and it gives us something to root for and work towards with Voya. The next thing that you could do is introduce a new character, a new setting, or a new challenge. Just throw your character into something new. Sometimes what we're missing in the middle is just something happening. I had a lot of trouble with this in my last book where I was like, okay, there's just a lot of nothing happening. I need something to go on. This is kind of similar to subplots, but I think the difference is just more that these are more plot devices versus a whole thing like streaming through on its own beneath the main plot. So for example, if you want to heighten the stakes of your novel because, we're supposed to be working towards something, but maybe everything's a little bit flat, maybe your characters find out that one of their lives are on the line now. Maybe they find out some new information that completely changes their perspective on their world. Maybe one of the characters that your main character loves most is betraying them this whole time. Or maybe we meet a new secret character that's going to become really important later in your story. There are tons of different things that can make interesting plot points and just really help move the book forward. If you're spending a lot of time in one town, like let's say you're doing kind of a small town romance or something and you want to change setting, maybe instead of having a lot of it take place, at work, let's say they work together, maybe he invites her over to dinner at his family's house, and that completely changes their relationship, and we also have a new setting with new characters and new stakes. Another issue that you could come across is that maybe you're moving too quickly through everything. So if your story is too short, you're just kind of you're having these plot points happen, but we're getting there too quickly. So you can add in little things in between, characters, conversations, stops, little events in between those plot points to help further either development or relationships. And also that commonly can mean that you're making the path to your end goal too easy for your characters. So maybe try and choose a different route or a more difficult route that your characters have to work through. As I've been saying in all these videos, we as the readers love to watch characters struggle and overcome harsh and hard things. So see what you can make go wrong for your character, or what battle scars do they maintain, even if they're emotional battle scars. What sort of things is your character working through that's really difficult for them. So they're moving forward through the plot, but at what cost? The next thing that you can do is build relationships between your characters. The middle of your book is where a lot of your character development is going to happen. It's where your character gets to explore the world that they're in and meet new people and characters and just really interact with everything. I mean, everything could be new and exciting for them. And this can happen even if you don't have a romantic subplot within your story. Maybe the romance for them is experiencing this new world and, falling in love with this new place that they're surrounding themselves with. But if you are going to have a romance, the middle is where most of your relationship is going to bloom and take place. You could put them into different and awkward situations, if someone maybe needs to save someone else. I don't know, it could be anything. Have fun with it and really develop that relationship between those two people. If you're moving too quickly through your plot, this could be a really great time to slow things down and really take time for the characters to get to know and care about each other, especially, if your story is going to end up losing one of them at the end. We as the readers really want to care about that person if we're going to lose them. And then that in turn could raise the stakes for your character in the long run. Basically, you can do anything you want with your story as long as it fits within the stakes and the world that you've created. And the last thing I want to say is just that you need to remember where you're going. Sometimes when we're in the middle, we need to take a step back and remember what we're headed towards and how we need to get there. If you're a pantser and you're struggling with the middle, this might be a time where you just need to to think about, you know, what's the next big goal that you want your characters to achieve. It doesn't necessarily need to be the end of the book if you don't have that figured out yet, but what is the next big thing that you want your character to go through? You know, is it time for them to have some sort of revelation or big conflict? And what could that be? What is the most interesting choice for that to be for your character? So something you can do is just ask yourself the question, what if, over and over and over again, until you get to something that really inspires you and feels good for your story. If you are traveling, you know, what if all of their belongings got robbed? What if the owners of the rival bookstore across the street end up being the love interest's parents, and now you find out that you're in a Romeo and Juliet situation? What if the whole time the love interest is cheating on her? You can just go back and ask yourself, what is something I can do to really challenge my character? What is something my character really, really wants that can't get? Or what if my character is so close to achieving what they want, but what is something I can put in their way that just rips them away from it and pulls them back into the conflict? You can always go back and rewrite things if it's not turning out the way you want it to, but you have to start somewhere, and getting through the middle and making it interesting is hard. And if you get yourself stuck in your writing, you're not writing anything, and that's not helping you either. I will say there's a YouTuber, Alexa Dunn, and she's a traditionally published author. I think she has like 2 or 3 books out. She does some amazing writing resource videos, and I'm gonna link her video about writing the middle down below. And if you're interested in learning some more about writing in the middle, or you want some more variety and options that might be more catered to what genre you're writing, she would be a really great resource. She is amazing. I love all of her videos. That is what I have for you all today. I hope this helps you out when writing the middle of your book. I know it can be so tough, but you have got this. NaNoWriMo is starting in just a few days. I know that you're going to be great, and your stories are all going to be wonderful. Don't lose hope. You've got this. I cannot wait to see what you do. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more bookish and writing related content, please feel free to give me a subscribe and like this video. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I cannot wait to see you in the next one.